Hello and welcome to the new style Edexcel GCSEs. These are the ones that go from grades 9 through to grade 1. This is the first paper in the higher tier entitled 1MA1/1H. It's a non-calculator paper and we're picking up in question 14. Ben played 15 games of basketball. Here are the points he scored in each game. Part A says draw a box plot for this information. Now, I tend to think of a box plot, or I call a box plot a box and whisker chart, because it's got a box and it's got some whiskers. It's got some lines coming out of it that looks a bit like cat's whiskers. Okay, now I've taken the liberty to draw the answer in already because I have very poor artistic talents and it takes me a long time to draw, and I wanted to make it neat for you to understand. So the first thing I had to do to draw this was to work out a scale and work out what all these numbers were going to be. So I noticed that they went up to 28 and I counted the little squares, not one by one, but I know that these big lines represent 10 squares. So I went 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So I figured if I halve 60 I can go up to 30. So instead of going 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, I'll go up 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, which means on this scale 2 little boxes equals a score of 1, or equals 1 point. So having drawn in my scale, and we don't have to make it really neat, it's only worth 3 marks, we're not going to spend half an hour trying to make sure this is perfect. So we've got our scale drawn, so now we need to find the median value so we can draw a line for the median. Now, to find the median, the first thing we need to do is to take all this data and arrange it into numerical order, or into order from, it can be from lowest to highest or highest to lowest, but better to go from lowest to highest. So I noticed when I started looking through them that they were already in order, so the examiners have very kindly put them in order for us to save us a little bit of work. So now I just need to find the middle one, which is 22. Now there are various ways you can find the middle one. There's a formula that you might know. If you count how many numbers there are, and we're actually told that there are 15 numbers, and you add 1 to that number, that would give us 16, and then we divide that by 2, that will give us 8, and the middle one is the 8th one from either end. Another way you can think of to do it is to say, well, if there's 15 games, if we subtract 1 from 15, because we're looking for the middle one, so we subtract the middle one that we're looking for, so there are 14 numbers that we need to throw away, and those 14 numbers that we need to throw away, we need to throw away 7 from the left and 7 from the right. So if we're throwing away 7 numbers from the left, we want the 8th number from the left, or if we're throwing away 7 from the right, we need the 8th one from the right. Either way, we're still counting the 8th number, which is 22. If you can't think of either of those methods, you can just cross off the first and the last one, and then cross off the new first and the new last one, and then cross off the new first and the new last one, and you keep going till you get to the middle number, which again will be 22. So we've identified the median as 22, so we draw our line on our scale where it's 22. So I'll count it up to 20, count 2 little squares is 21, and another 2 little squares is 22, and this is where I drew my line. Now to find where I draw the box, I need the lower quartile and the upper quartile, and that's basically just a half of a half, or a quarter of the way through instead of a halfway through. And if halfway through is 8, then the lower quartile is going to be the 4th one in. So this is the 4th one in from the left. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's 18. And the upper quartile is 4 in from the right, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 from the right, so that's 26. So I drew my line at 18 and I drew my line at 26, and I joined them together to make a box. And that's my box. And then the whiskers go from the lower quartile, from the edge of the box, to the lowest number in the data set, and again from the right hand side of the box all the way up to the highest number on the data set. So when we come to interpret this box and whisker chart, the length of the line from the extreme left end to the extreme right end gives us the range of the data, and the length of the box gives us the interquartile range, and of course the line inside the box gives us the median. So that's our box. That's part A done. Sam plays in the same 15 games of basketball. The median number of points Sam scored is 23. The interquartile range of these points is 12. The range of these points is 20. Who is more consistent at scoring points, Sam or Ben? You must give a reason for your answer. Okay, so in this case, we're looking to see who's the most consistent. So the person who's the most consistent is going to have the smallest range. He's also going to have the smallest interquartile range. So whether you look at the interquartile range or the range as a whole, if we check Ben's range, he's gone from 17 all the way to 28. So that's a range of 11. Whereas Sam's range we're given is 20. So Ben has the smallest range, so Ben is the most consistent. If we'd have checked the interquartile range, we'd have seen that that Ben's goes from 18 all the way up to 26, which is a range of 8. Whereas the interquartile range of Sam is given as 12. So again, Ben has the smallest interquartile range, and therefore Ben is the most consistent. So we can just type that in as our answer. So Ben having the smallest range and the smallest interquartile range is the most consistent scorer. Okay, I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.